All right, so we got podcast number one here. We got Mr. Snider from Snider Roofing,
Yes,
VP
sir.
of Snider
Yes, sir.
Roofing. So you've grown up here in Naples, Florida, right?
So I was born in Ohio,
Gotcha.
and I was raised in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
North side. Well, it's Spring, Texas. But anyway, I lived there for like 10 years and then moved here 8th grade summer. Went to Naples High all 4 years.
So you got your 8th grade summer. So was that going into high school?
Oh, yeah. I was going into high school. Moved here, I think it was June 18th, 2018. I didn't like it at first, honestly, because my whole life was in Texas, and that's where everyone was from. But
I could tell when I saw the motorbikes, dirt bikes, all that stuff.
No, absolutely.
I could tell there's a little bit of Texas in you.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude. I've been all over on Texas.
No doubt.
It's fun. It's fun, honestly. And a lot of people say it's like a desert or like a no man's
not
land.
anymore.
It's not.
I mean, I've heard it's like cities like Houston are bigger than Miami.
The downtown Houston is crazy. It's as crazy as Miami. Absolutely.
I know there's some crazy high rises down there too.
No.
There's some crazy like
The
development.
lifestyle and culture in Houston is totally different from here. Like, way different.
So let me open up with the question then.
Yeah, sure.
I know Javi, you're from Cuba. You were raised in Cuba till you were about 4, right? And then
So I was
came over here.
Born in Cuba, lived there until I was 5. So yeah, I moved to the U.S. when I was 5.
I was, born and raised here locally in Naples. So I'm curious, coming from like both of you guys, like how just like that adjustment is, especially, moving, multiple times or moving from another country, coming here and then, going
Yeah,
up to
no,
where you are
definitely. Again, like I said, I didn't like it, but eventually I adjusted and I realized what opportunities are here to build and become better.
For
Like
sure.
way more opportunity. So I'm 100% grateful that I moved here. But in the beginning, it's hard because, your whole life, you just left, like all your friends, at least where I was from, all my friends, all my memories. I mean,
Right.
it was hard, but moving here was definitely the best decision.
Right.
By far.
So, I mean, in my case, it was a little bit different because, I mean, we were escaping a communist country. But, I mean, definitely moving from Cuba, I mean, having lived in Cuba, having gone through those struggles, and then coming over here, moving in with my grandparents in a, like, 800 square foot apartment. I mean, even then, to me, that was, like, heaven because it was, like, I was living in Cuba, and then I come here, and I mean, nice cars, nice food, and restaurants.
Way different. Absolutely.
So definitely, I would say in the long run, it definitely gave me a different perspective than other people, and I'm grateful for that. So I think after that, I mean, moving to Naples was a completely different shift in Miami, and I feel like Miami was like big city vibes, and then you move into Naples, and it's like close knit. Everybody.
I completely forgot you moved to Miami.
Yeah, I lived in Miami
How long were you there for?
Up until, I mean, I moved to the U.S. in 2009, and I left Miami in 2015. So I was...
Dude, you came here right during the recession, man.
So
Yeah.
where are you from?
And me?
Yeah, you.
Born and raised. I was born in the
Naples.
Baker
Florida-
Tower. on
Florida
North
boy.
Side. Florida's a guest,
Oh yeah,
man.
that's right. You were saying that.
Florida boy.
You're
You
straight.
see, that's why,
Florida.
like, I missed out on... like here, everyone, like goes, like paddleboarding and, like, all that stuff. Like,
beach. It's
skimboarding.
a very beachy
So you see-
orientated lifestyle, yeah.
I missed out on that part because that's why, like, I didn't like really fish or anything, or like, even though I like grew up in Florida, because like I don't know, in Miami we didn't do that, and I moved to Naples and I was like going to like 6th grade, so I feel like, I don't know, I missed out. Like by the time I got here, there was like, I remember Brady Williamson was like already 5th grade in his little like skimboarding, and I was like, where'd all these kids like where'd they come from? Like freaking 5th grade over here like doing tricks and stuff, and I'm like how did this happen?
It was different, man. And then the dunes too. Like we had this off-roading spot.
Yeah.
I still haven't taken you there, but I think we're breaking you into the beachy lifestyle now for sure.
I mean, I feel like Naples is cool because it's a mix of beachy, and then you add a little bit of country to it, and I don't know, you get almost like you get a mix of both worlds because
Beachy and country.
yeah, a little bit.
I think there's definitely a little city life to it, especially now.
I mean,
especially
maybe
now,
now a little
especially
bit.
now we have all these people from like New York and California moving down. So if it's not already such a city vibe, it's leaning more that way. I mean, just like look at where we are around like all the development going on and
Right, but Ayden, let me ask you something because I can relate to this. So when you moved down from Texas, how was it moving into Naples and then everything closing at like 8 p.m.?
Terrible. Because it's way
That's the only way you can put it.
No, yeah, no, it's way different. Like in Houston, everything is up until like midnight, unless you're in the city. If you're in the city, it's all night. Just like New York, it's just like 24/7, always running parties, everything.
You want pizza, 1 a.m. Call in.
Oh yeah, you're straight.
Pick up, delivery, you name
straight.
it.
So Kaylin, tell us about your business background. What's your business background?
So my business background started my senior year of high school. It's funny because with me, it just what really clicked for me was actually one of my favorite teachers, Coach Garcia.
Okay.
I don't know if you guys remember him.
Of course,
he was
yeah.
my entrepreneur teacher my senior year of high school, and conveniently I had it first block every day. So it was almost an incentive just to starting my day. I already had like that thought in the back of my mind, especially through my junior year summer. I was working at that steakhouse and ended up working for just a terrible management team and was just treated terrible and
Sure.
It put me in a position where I never wanted to work for anyone again and where I won't work for anyone again. And I think it was a combination of that. Definitely a little bit of Coach Garcia. Him and I made like a little bet in the beginning of the school year that I want to build and sell a legitimate business by the end of the year, which if you're watching this by now, I did. And I mean, I just, I really do think anyone can turn around and start a business, but you have to be like, it's either you have it or you don't. Like you have to have
you're
that
either
spark.
a leader or a follower.
Exactly.
It's an inner motivation. Like there's something that like it's almost like it's a hunger, it's a drive. And I realized moving into Naples, especially where there's a little bit more wealth, that it doesn't really have to do with, whether you're wealthy or whether you come from a poor family. Like it doesn't matter. Some people just have something in them and they could come from a wealthy family, they could come from a poor family. It doesn't matter your background. At the end of the day, if you have that spark in you, if you have that go in you, you're set.
You're already beating your competition.
It's not being satisfied.
Exactly.
Who's more hungry? Who wants it more?
Right.
That's all exactly. No,
and it's almost an ego thing in a way because like you tell yourself it's like, all right, in the world you got to have something to like show. Like if we're sitting in a room and it's like you're sitting with 100 people and you're like, I'm fucking smarter than all these people. But what do you have to show for it? You need to have something to show for it. And I feel like especially now, and like the world's become so materialistic, but especially nowadays, in order to show something for it, I mean, you have to work on something. And now the best thing you could do is build a business. And a business is something that you can build and grow. And it's something that kind of says a lot about you. I mean, especially if you're able to, look at our age right now and things we're doing. I feel like just the fact that we're sitting here right now, that says something about us instead of, it's a Friday night. We could be.
Yeah, I know. I can't even tell you like how many of my old friends right now are out literally right down the street.
Bar hopping.
Like,
Yeah.
Right, like that just that's 99% of them are out there bar hopping. The 1% we're in.
So
here.
you got it or you don't.
Putting the work in. Yeah, exactly. And you can tell too. You can't fake that. You can't fake the drive. You can't fake.
And you can't also force someone either. And that's something. That's
true.
That's a very valuable lesson.
That's so true.
That is true.
And I learned that with a good friend of mine. But you can't. It's like I forgot exactly how that saying goes, but like you can take the horse to the water, but you can't make him drink.
Oh yeah, but you can't make him drink. Yeah.
And it's like it's the same. It's the same with people. You can try, but if it doesn't come out of you, if it's not something that you want to achieve, that you want to accomplish, then it's not going to happen. And that's just
no.
The reality.
I told you today. I literally just cut a friend of 5 years off because, as of right now in our life and, where we are, and I mean, me personally being in such a transitional phase, going a little bit back to where it started, obviously my senior year of high school, I built and sold that yacht concierge company, used that capital to fund the detailing company, got the brick and mortar, started flipping PPF, vinyl, ceramic coatings, made my first $100,000. It was fun and all, and everything kind of happens for a reason. Sometimes some things come to an end. It was a little unfortunate with, how that company necessarily came to an end.
Sure.
But I'm sure there was a lesson there.
Oh, there's a lesson to be learned through all of it. And
Absolutely.
That's what matters, is picking through those lessons and, just using that to better yourself and,
in the future,
evolve into a better person.
Sure.
Like, I go by this saying, I tell them every day, progression, not regression. That goes for anything. Like, that's how our world was built. We were built on progress,
moving forward,
development. And that's what scares me now is, we're seeing less and less of that in today's world.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's
starting to get scary, man.
Oh, no, it is. I think it's common to see a incompetency. Like, it's so common to see that trait within people.
You know what it all is, too.
Oh, it's the
Well, that's a big part of it. But another thing is, I mean, if you've noticed, everyone now wants to be happy. Like, if you ask, like, why are you doing this? Oh, well, I just want to be happy. What's your ultimate goal in life? Well, I want to be happy. But if you really think about it, like, you can't be happy without being sad, without being angry, without going through all those negative emotions, because there's no meaning to the so-called happiness. And in order to get to happiness, which I don't really believe happiness exists, all I think it's a comparison between something, a spot here and a spot here where you're putting in more effort or breaking a sweat, but you're not supposed to be happy. We're not going to be like, humanity as a whole can't evolve if everyone's happy and content. There has to be problems, there has to be struggles, we have to fix things, we have to hit a wall and then figure out why we hit that wall and what we can do to overcome the problems that led us there. And so
Beautifully said.
People now are just stuck on like, I want to be happy, but they don't realize that when you get thrown the hell down, when you don't get that promotion you want, when you don't get whatever it is, I mean, it's just life telling you that there's something you got to fix within yourself.
Work harder.
Keep going at it. And
again,
work
harder.
People just take everything as like, oh, like I failed at this, that means I'm no good. No, you failed at it because you did something wrong. So go back and try again and see where you went wrong along the process.
And then you're gonna fail again, and then you gotta try again.
I don't think Einstein or like he didn't figure out electricity just like boom. Figured.
Oh, you know how many times like that man was like down on his knees, probably like crying, ready to give up, and just like I said, like he had that spark in him. He had that spark in him that other people didn't have, and like look above.
Yeah.
Like it's in every room now. That's just it's what it is. But going back to it, I think the social media sphere.
Yeah, let's get into that.
It's relating to what you said with happiness, it's putting such like a false image out there, because on social media, people can post and control only what they want you to see.
Right.
So they put out this like false image, especially these entrepreneurs and these gurus, like, oh, look at me, look at the jets, look at the lifestyle, like it's all great, it's all good.
Fake clips or something.
Well, if it's fake or real, it can be real, but they're just not posting the downs. Just because you're scrolling through someone's feed and it's all happiness and it's all joy, like that doesn't mean that person isn't going through some sort of hell. It doesn't mean that person hasn't had some sort of trauma in their past life or their childhood. Like, and what the truth is 99% of those people that you do see happy and that you do see so joyful and contentful, they have gone through some sort of trauma. They have gone through some sort of hell. I mean, I can't tell you, I can't list a single successful person I know that hasn't been through some sort of trauma, some sort of
down
wall, just all-time rock bottom, like before becoming and evolving to the person they are today. It's a must.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I think another thing that is like ruining our perception of happiness is attention span, right? You're scrolling on TikTok,
Right.
you got a 30-second dopamine shot, and then you
Right.
got your next
Right.
30-second dopamine shot, and then eventually
10
you're
seconds.
just burnt. Yeah, or 10 seconds,
10 seconds.
whatever
It's
it is.
all it takes is that one
What
sound,
it
that
is.
one frequency.
Yeah, whatever it
and
is.
your dopamine receptors are going insane. Like, I think I'd sent it into the group chat with actually both of you guys. There was a video. We sort of did it when we did the 75 hard program. Unfortunately, came to a halt on day 20. But even with it,
We'll hop into
we'll
that
hop into that
another
on
time, but
another podcast.
that's a
I don't know if we're cleared for that yet, but I was telling, we did like a full social media detox, like wake up, cold
Yeah,
showers.
I got a text.
workout, eat
I got a
right.
text from a random person on your Instagram saying, "Here's Kaylin's number, call him." And it was when you were doing that 75 hard. It's like, why wouldn't Kaylin just text me? Because I knew you weren't on your
Oh, that's
account.
right. We had someone managing the
Yeah,
the page. At that time,
I
right.
figured you had someone managing
Right,
it.
Yeah.
right. Can't really go into that either. But
Yeah.
what I'm trying to take away from it is
What?
just and relating to that video I sent to you guys is there was someone else who did it over a 7-day period, and he did a brain scan on the first day, and the whole like back portion of his brain, I don't know what it's called, was totally blocked off from like the frontal and the mid portion. Like it wasn't communicating with itself, and the back portion, I guess, is where like your dopamine receptors are. So, and his anxiety levels were through the roof. His his brain scan just came out like off
Terrible.
the fucking charts. And I remember he did the 7-day detox, no social media. That also means no Netflix, no YouTube, just
No
all
TV.
healthy
Yeah.
dopamine. Exactly. And by day 7, his brain, like the neurologist was like, I've never seen something like such a fast recovery. Like your brain's like the back of your brain's now communicating with the front of your brain. Your anxiety levels have significantly decreased. Your attention span, your
I'm sure it's true.
just everything, yeah. And that's the part. And what a lot of people have confused too about the social media is they think it's all, oh, well, that's just dopamine. The dopamine's bad for you. Like it's almost put this picture out there that dopamine's bad for you. It's like, no, dopamine isn't bad for you. How you're receiving that dopamine is bad for you. There's much better ways, much more natural ways to be receiving dopamine. Like biggest one's gonna be vitamin D, that sun. That's one of the, like, I am huge on that, getting out, getting the blinds up, trying to step outside, especially now the weather's beautiful out, At that first light, I
It
live
got
by it.
cold, but then it got
Yeah, it got warm again. We got a little teaser.
We did. No, exactly. That's what I said. It was short-lived.
But, so Ayden, now
Tell
I want to ask you. So when, I mean, for those of you that don't know, you're vice president of Snider Roofing. Now, when did you kind of decide, or like, kind of run me through at what point in your life were you like, I want to get into roofing, or I want to get into business, or where did you start your
sure.
business endeavor that led
Where's that,
to where you
where's
are
that
now?
click?
It wasn't ever like a click. I just like, I've been this way my whole life. Like ever since a little kid in elementary, I always wanted to build a business with my dad, do something in business with my dad. Like, I always had assistant teachers, like IEPs and stuff. So at the end of the year, they would do reports on me and like, what do you want to do for your future? Like, what do you want to do for the rest of your life? And it would always be, I want to, build a landscaping company or a roofing company or something in the service industry always.
Okay.
So, but the real, when I locked down and I was like, it's time now, was maybe 2 or 3, maybe 2 months before Hurricane Ian. And then that's when I was like, all right, I need to really, really invest myself into this business and learn it. And that's what I did.
Did you ever work any like day jobs before? Or?
Oh, no. I worked for my dad my whole life. Originally, I was a laborer.
Yeah, I think.
Just cleaning up jobs.
I think all three of us. Were
Yeah,
at one point.
I mean, it's you got to start there. Everyone should.
Shit, dude, I was working my summers pressure washing this building, pressure washing the pavers downstairs. That's how you build a work ethic. That's another
Exactly.
thing. I don't want to
Exactly.
get totally back off topic here, but that's another thing with the social media is it puts this total false image out there that you can just overnight, boom, overnight success. Like, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to put any work in. Just set up this Shopify store, sell this product, run these ads, and you only need $10 to get started too. And
Yeah, the side hustle.
You'll be rich by the end of the week.
Yeah, the side hustle that will somehow get you to 7 figures.
Right, which is what I mean. What you were
without
saying
breaking a sweat.
is all you see is the beauty, like the fast cars, the beautiful women, the nice restaurants. You don't see people waking up at 5 a.m. Go to sleep at 3 a.m.
Yeah, no.
They don't show that part. So the only part you see is this nice lifestyle, but that nice lifestyle is only a result of hard work and dedication.
Yeah,
and it's
100%.
And the people that do show it, those are true people right there. Those are true people like Iman Godzi. He's documented it from the start, from when he was at his bottom. Him documenting. That's why I respect and love him so much. Is he's remains so true to himself. Like, I can't tell you how many people and how many of these influencers like have documented it from the start, and then once they put this like image out there, and once they make it to their point of happiness or wherever their point of success is, they go back and they delete all that. But
right. So with you, kind of, have you in any way, do you use social media in your business? Have you started?
I do, but I don't. We have, like a website. We have advertisement, very, very little advertisement. We're more word to mouth, but, we have things like a radio ad or website. But I don't have like an Instagram or a Facebook or, YouTube. I don't have any of that. But mainly just word to mouth and Google is how we get our business.
Yeah.
Really.
And I heard your radio ad the other day too. It was amazing.
It's on ESPN and K-Rock.
We were in the car together. We listened to it.
We
were timing it too. We were like, it was a couple minutes later. Like we were just there on that station, listening, right in that airport, and then Ken was like, "Did we miss it?" And I'm like, "No, dude, trust us."
96.1 and 98.1.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the
dude.
One.
Man, that's crazy.
So what led you to even? Where did you come up with the idea of I'm gonna go and put this on the radio?
That's a great question. So originally my dad did the radio ad post Hurricane Ian, and one of our we're well connected with the Beasley family. They own all the radio stations. We manage all of the roofs for them. Like, that's one of our accounts, and they're great people. So I just called my friend Brandon, and I was like, "Hey, throw me on the radio.
Let's get something going."
Yeah, let's get something going. And he was like,
That's kind of exactly how this happened here.
No, literally, that's how it happened.
You wanna hop on our pod? Sure, you guys have a podcast? You're the first guest. All right, time and place.
So now you said word of mouth was also, something big that you guys use. So you said you moved from Texas. Mm-hmm. So moving from Texas, was the company founded here in Naples when you moved? After you moved?
So originally my dad, he founded Snider Roofing like 20 years ago.
And this was in Texas?
No, this was in... It would be in Lehigh Acres.
Okay,
no,
so
actually it was Daytona Beach.
Daytona Beach. Okay, so on the other coast.
So he moved from Daytona Beach to Lehigh Acres.
Okay.
And he built all in Lehigh Acres, and really that's where he built. Daytona was temporary. 20 years ago. He was building out in Lehigh, Fort Myers, all of Southwest Florida, really, from anywhere from, like, we built all the way up all across the coast. We built all over Florida. Sarasota, Jacksonville, Venice. I mean, you name it. Cape Coral, we've been there. Marco Island. So after the '08 crash, that's when we moved to Texas. Because I lived in Florida for like 2 years. I was a little kid, but we moved to Texas. My dad lost everything. He lost his home. He lost his business. He lost the cars. He lost everything. And then he started up a lawn care company in Houston. He's crazy, dude. He started with $500.
So he hit a rock bottom.
Yes, yeah, he hit a rock bottom.
It's crazy because for my dad it was the opposite, because he was practicing law for about, let's say, 10 just shy of 10 years before '08 when the recession happened, and just right before one of his partners had seen it coming. There's three founding partners, Pete, Lou, and Craig, PLC, and one of them had seen the recession coming and got in with the right people at the right time, and just capitalized on the commercial real estate pretty much throughout all Southwest Florida. There's a couple investment properties, a little bit further up the coast and whatnot, but it's just it's crazy because there was like no medium at that time. It was either like you struck rich, or you went right down.
Here's the falling that really hurt my dad. Being a contractor, when you're in line to foreclose on someone's house, the bank is always gonna step in front of you, always.
Right.
And that's where he lost. All these customers weren't paying their bills. My dad always paid his suppliers, anyone, his laborers. He always paid his bills. He never shorted any of his suppliers during the '08 crash, not a single one. And he still has all of his accounts, and they're good. Most people went bankrupt and went on bad terms with, well-known suppliers like ABC, SRS, Sunnyland, etc.
Yeah.
But so with that being said, when it's time to, foreclose on someone's house, how else are you going to make it back? Well, he can't. So then he just lost it all, literally.
Right. Yeah.
Like he lost a few cars, a plane, a few houses. And we moved to Texas, and he started up a lawn care company with he built that to 30 to 50 employees, and then real estate, a whole bunch of pool companies, all sorts of stuff, painting, I'm sorry, painting. And after Houston, we had the opportunity in 2017 when Irma hit. That's when my dad,
gold mine.
Yeah, he put his feet down and moved over here.
Right.
And he worked for a year plus, and I didn't really get to see him. I got to see him maybe 10 to 15 times.
Because he's here, there.
Yeah, he's flying back and forth, but
that's right. So you're still stationed in Texas at the time.
Yeah, at the time, yeah. And then he, produced enough funds to move us over here, and I'm grateful. Straight up.
Going back to '08, obviously I think that's the last depression or recession we've seen. I know everyone thinks we're in one right now. We're just in a very elongated period of stagflation, though we're nowhere near a recession. But where do you see this economy going in the next 10 to 20 years, especially with all these...
honestly. Look at everyone.
I sincerely wish I could argue with you on that, but what do you?
Everyone's lazy and want to get paid more.
Right. It all stems down to the phones,
simply
the love
put,
of media, just this false reality that's been put out there.
Not just that. Specifically the U.S. economy. I think it's safe to say we can all agree that things could be run a little bit better. And I don't think that's helping.
Especially how we spend it.
Yeah,
yeah.
Our own security is also important.
Yeah.
Just kind of...
We gotta get careful not to get demonetized.
Yeah.
6 billion? 6 billion, we're all on the same topic, 6 billion?
There's a couple of those 6 billion, man.
Yeah.
Numbers increase.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But yeah, no. Definitely the economy, I think right now is not really at a good spot. I'm no expert, but...
The way we're going right now, you're right, we're going to shit. Unless if they're throughout, whether it's this next election or...
Well, how about this? I can definitely tell you being involved within the roofing industry because, again, I build all over the coast. I know plenty of homeowners that are going through financial situations, and one of the big reasons why is insurance companies.
Insurance is in a little bit of a scuffle right now. So, I know
yeah.
real estate, the top... there was 9 actually big insurance companies to insure homeowners in Florida, and within since the hurricane, I remember when the hurricane hit, it was a mess. And I know like a couple, like out of like main 8 or 9 insurance companies, I know like 3 or 4 of them went bankrupt. And went out of business.
Either went bankrupt or I know one that fled.
They just
disappeared.
Gone. So, I mean, now that left kind of like a problem because, I mean, obviously insurance had to go up. Now you have all these people that, need insurance and then they're trying to get quoted. And, I mean, any house, like if you look at Florida, but any house that's older, you're screwed. You could not get insurance.
Another problem I see is they can't afford, their new roof or whatever it might be, right? Which, of course, we offer financing. Right. To be a solution to that. But sometimes people, even though it's crazy, but we offer like no doc loans, and your credit can be like 600 and you'll still get approved, 0% interest. Yeah. But anyway, that a lot of people are not getting paid by insurance companies, so they're in a predicament to either sell their home or just be stuck with, a shit predicament with. A lot of people have structural damage from the water, roof damage, all sorts of stuff. Lanai screens, cars, boats. I mean, it's all over, and it's terrible.
No, yeah, it's a mess. So explain to me. I'm actually curious.
Sure.
I've been explained this once before. I don't have the best of memories. So how does I know that there was I don't know what year it was, but there was that legislation that passed that made it very difficult for your roofers.
So that law, technically it was passed beginning of 2023, but it really was passed July 22.
Okay, because that is when I first started to hear about it.
Yeah, so as a roofer now, we can't talk direct with insurance companies. We'll be held accountable for it, and
so they have to have like a middleman or.
Yeah, which would be an attorney.
Yeah.
That's the middleman. No, well, it's not. It's, it's just, it is what it is, and that's how the game is played now. And Ron DeSantis, he knew what he was doing, so.
You know what I've really figured out, and Luke Belmar really put this into a good perspective, is, these middlemen, that's the people that really tend to make money. Like, if you can find, some sort of, massive amount of money, moving, and just position yourself, in the middle of that.
Yeah, I mean, he gave the example.
You are set.
With China and the masks.
Yes.
There was some guy in Puerto Rico, and the guy in Puerto Rico had some contact in China for the mask, and he also had a contact for a hospital in New York that needed masks, and again, this was during COVID. So the middleman put the contact he had in China that would be shipping containers of masks over to this hospital or this institution in New York. He put 2 and 2 together, and I mean, this guy was making. I mean, he said an absurd amount, like 10K, 15K, 30, 100K a day. It was insane. Every time they would be, I forgot, 5-10 containers would be being shipped every day, and every time one of those containers was shipped, he would bank on a couple grand.
I had a quick question. Is it common for you, or since you were you're still a business owner, but obviously you don't have daily operations with employees showing up to put people's cars PPFs on and stuff like that.
Right.
You don't have them. No, now you don't.
Less of the manual labor force. Correct.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to get at. You don't have that every day. You need work.
It's every day we need work. It's just it's a different niche of work now.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to say.
It was trade work, and now it's more just it's honestly more strategic work, and half of it now is artificial intelligence.
With having employees, is it harder being younger? Trying to enforce
100%.
Implement rules and regulations and structure
I remember you asked me
your
about
business
this a couple months ago.
Yeah.
100%. It totally has an impact on it, and anyone who ever asked me about it, I'm not going to say I'm perfect. I've learned from my mistakes, but one thing I have definitely learned, and especially from managing employees at such a young age, is really keeping that professional and personal barrier.
Yeah.
that's important, and like
Agreed.
giving that incentive like from the start, from the interview, like that incentive should be given.
I agree. And another thing is to be calm. You know, you can't have
Keep
a
it cool, yeah,
rage.
especially
Because especially being young too.
especially being young, like we're still developing, like we still have like right now we are all peaking in our hormones and
Yeah,
peaking in our
but just
testosterone,
imagine
so,
the other
yeah.
perspective too of like of an older employee getting yelled at by a younger
kid.
a
Yeah,
younger-
so
that
it's
isn't- they won't like that. You
it's
know,
demeaning in a way. To
It
them,
is, it
it's
is.
almost demeaning, and
It
almost, you know, especially to another man. I'm not, you know,
Oh, absolutely.
I'm not being sexist at all, but like it is science. Like it's going to definitely affect an older man being yelled at by a younger person.
Oh, for sure. It
You know, this
doesn't
is, you
doesn't
know,
sit right.
yeah, it doesn't sit right.
And
So-
I completely respect that, you know. That's
But-
why I always give my upright most respect to all my employees, no matter what.
it all comes down to just respect and loyalty.
So have
That's
you
right.
had any interesting situations with
Oh,
that?
absolutely. Oh, I've had a lot.
So like, how have you what way have you found that's almost like, you know, being young, what's a good way that you've found to approach, you know, older people that you know you're going to be leading or you're going to be in charge of, or you know that need to meet deadlines that are under you?
Just do it. Like I just go and do it. I go to work every day. I know what to do. Like as I said, learning the business. So I was forced to learn the business because in order to lead people, you need to know how to run the business. Obviously, right? What to do, what permit to apply for, what type of permit to apply for, what official recorded county documents.
What about data? Is there any data that you collect on your business to keep yourself kind of like, you know, to keep tabs on different aspects of your business, whether it's you know, like let's say you're getting your sales guys out there. Do you track, you know, what percentage of the sales you guys are closing?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Like the lead conversion, like.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
So how do you guys go about that, especially in the roofing industry? Because I'm sure every.
How do we go about that?
Yeah.
So we have a CRM.
Which one do you guys use?
We use AccuLinks. It's
Okay.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most common ones.
Okay.
I like it. It's simple. It's easy. You have your photos, your documents to upload all the documents in, notes. You can save all the customers' information.
Right.
There's job numbers. It's really simple to use. But going back to leading people and being forced to learn the business, back when I first started in Hurricane Ian, right? Obviously the baby steps my dad helped me on a lot of it.
Right.
But I was also forced because beginning of hurricane, we didn't have anyone to apply for permits. We didn't have many people. We lost all of our workforce.
Well.
Yeah, we got rid of everyone because we found out a lot of people were stealing from us and a lot of stuff. But
Wow.
so we got rid of everyone. My dad, his peak operation was like 300 employees, and we got rid of everyone, and now we're sitting like probably below the 30s. I don't know, but around
with
there.
employees.
Yeah, with employees. Yeah, around there. But you know, I forced myself to learn that permit. I had to answer the phone. I had to schedule the job. I had to coordinate with the crews. I had to, you know, I had a lot of pressure on me.
And so now that you mentioned that because these are actions that you had to. I mean, these are things, day-to-day tasks that you
just had to do. You just got to do it.
And this is
That's what I'm
something
saying.
that college can't teach you. College can't teach you
Yeah.
about
Work ethic. Yeah.
or you know, certain things that that real life that you can only learn with experience.
Experience,
So
yeah.
you didn't go to college or anything.
No. I
what-
knew I wasn't gonna go to college either.
How old were you when you kind of decided you weren't going to go
Oh,
to college?
like I said, since a kid, I didn't want to
Since a
go.
kid, like
Literally.
define, like
Do you think your
like
parents...
8 years
grade,
old, like
like-
8 years old, 10 years old.
Like maybe younger than that. But
you knew, like back then, like
Yes.
I'm not going to college.
yeah.
So you think your parents had any sort of, like, maybe the way you were raised, the way you're growing up, you think that subconsciously had an impact on your decision?
Repeat
So
that.
do
I'm
you
sorry.
think just like kind of the way you were raised, whatever mentality your
Yes,
parents
yes,
have
absolutely.
on college, how that impacted you or influenced you?
seeing my dad, you know, build real estate, do roofing, all these sorts of trades and stuff. It really just like put something in me, you know, like I have to be better. Now I gotta one up him. You know, I gotta build something bigger.
Yeah.
You know,
You got to carry on his legacy.
Exactly. And you know, my grandpa, my dad's dad, he was a janitor at Goodyear. So my dad didn't come from. He learned that work ethic from my grandpa and implemented that into his own life to build what he has today. And that's what I have in me. It's just that drive, you know.
Yeah. So you keep mentioning your dad. You're obviously, you and your dad have a very, very close relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious because my dad's completely against it. Like, he would never let me work for his firm or
Mm-hmm.
work for the real estate company.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious, working with your dad, like, how does that affect your relationship with him?
Mm-hmm.
Like deferring between
Sure.
business and personal.
I don't think it's affected much. It's just.
You think it's strengthened it or?
Yeah. Strengthen the relationship for sure. You know, now really going through what he went through, you know, because being involved in a construction industry business is not easy. It is not. It's hard. It's hard.
I did construction, for.
No, it's hard, dude.
Yeah, I know people that are in it. It's
a rough industry.
It's a dirty industry. I mean, there's a lot
absolutely.
of money in it. I mean, it's never going to go away. Or like I've said, at the beginning of this, our world's developing. We're progressing. Part of that is construction. Part of that's development. So it's clearly not going to go away. But there's a lot of money being, but it's definitely
it's slowing down though. I would say it's slowing down with all the rules and regulations and laws like SB 17.
Have there been any, again, I'm not too familiar with the roofing industry,
mm-hmm.
but what would you say are some things that kind of impact or what control, let me phrase this differently, what control does kind of the government in a way by the laws they pass do they have over the way you conduct business, especially here in Florida?
Sure. Like I said, the first one, not being able to directly talk with the insurance company. As a homeowner, you want a roofing expert, Well, I mean, give or take, there's some contractors. But anyways, you don't know how to fight the fact that, or prove the fact that you have a deficient roof or there's something wrong with your roof. You can't tell the difference from a broken tile to a regular tile. So, okay. That's one of the main things. What we would do is back then is we would fight that insurance case for you. And that's how you get paid. It's through insurance, obviously, and we would fight it for you. But now you're stuck in the position where they have to hire an attorney.
Or an adjuster.
Or an adjuster,
private
adjuster.
Is just about as good as a public defender.
Yeah.
So,
especially now because insurance companies they can string you out in litigation for 3, 4, 5 years.
So
it's crazy, dude.
It's a game, and we're not going to go into it.
Him and
I first at hand, we learned how much of a system and how much of a game it really is. Like if you don't have that outside help or that third party help, especially
your life's outcome could be in the hands of a literal somebody that could care less. Think about it. Your future, your freedom, your just everything could literally just be placed in the hands of someone that could really care less. Whatever happens to them, it's the same either way, and they don't care. And that's honestly, I mean, it's terrible that things are that way.
I think that's one reason why that law passed is because for other people's benefit. Never mind. I'm not going to go into that. But anyways.
Yeah. That was DeSantis that passed that?
Yeah.
I'm a little upset with him. I don't want to go too much into politics. I'm a little upset with him.
Yeah, I don't either.
Running against Trump, man. He had another 4 years, and I mean, you look at Florida right now, we're fucking booming. We could be keeping this
Florida,
going.
Texas. I don't know so much about Cali and there's a couple other spots, but I know. I mean, it's interesting to see I guess we'll see what happens.
We'll see what happens, most definitely.
Especially with this election. I mean, it's just, it's crazy. They're going after Trump for all these things, and he's still running.
They're hitting him with a lot of stuff. To be honest, I've I've completely excluded myself from news, TV. I haven't watched TV in the like past 6 years. I don't watch TV.
I don't really watch. The first time I turned the news on was, I mean, just the
I don't do
Hamas
that.
attacks.
Yeah, which is
Before that, I
insane.
can't
That's a
remember.
whole nother thing.
Yeah,
That I mean is.
but that's a war that's been going on since Jesus. So it's like
That's another problem too. It links right back to the freaking phones, man. It's you see all these people. I'm not gonna say, but it's pretty clear like what certain group of people's doing. And this is a certain group of people like protesting against Israel now, like against Israel, like.
Well, listen, you can protest against anyone you want, but especially like one thing that should always be clear is like you shouldn't be for that type of violence. And like there's like it's one thing Russia going into Ukraine and attacking military bases. It's a completely different
that's
thing.
controversial. Like this should not even be it shouldn't even be a question.
Right, but it's a different thing when you go into when you invade another country and you go to a peace festival and then you go into break into homes and you start burning babies alive and you start chopping their heads off, burning people in cars, like civilians, no one that's military related.
Yeah,
I mean,
just
I'm
regular
talking
person.
about Americans. I'm talking just regular people that you see walking on the street that are living and going on about their life. And so when you see videos just coming up on the internet about just innocent people, babies, like innocent babies just being burned, like what type of person does that? So like
that's crazy.
There's no way you can be for like that type of violence.
For that, yeah, and then like, obviously like that's a big thing.
And expect that country not to retaliate in any type of way. After.
Right. Like you saw what happened to us. Not to get into it with 9/11. We're just gonna give an outline to it, what happened and what we did as a cause of that. And I think that's what scares me is it's almost like we're not like due for another one of those, but it's like shit. We could probably use it. Like we need some sort of unification, like unity. Like people are now putting like their beliefs and then.
But you would think you say that, but then you would think that with the whole Israel situation, that when you see babies getting burned alive, that people would, they would align towards. Babies not getting burned alive, but it's still not the case.
Here's the problem. Are the babies being burned here?
No, they're not.
No, this is thousands of miles away. The only way we're seeing this is through the TV or our phones, and then especially now through our phones and through the TV, it can be altered, and the perception and the headlines of it can be altered to where, there's a certain group of people that are just going to pick what they see in a headline or see this one video and just be like, and just deny like all the facts of it. I mean, it's a fact that these terrorists have come in. They're killing kids. They're killing families. They're burning people alive. They're pure animals. Like that is a fact, and there should be no headline. There should be no piece of media that should alter your perception on that. There just shouldn't be.
But at the same time, let me point something out, because you have to be very careful nowadays, because you never really know the full story. And one thing I heard is, and again, I'm just not for that type of violence, and I can't stand with that. It doesn't matter where you're from. But one thing I will say is Israel does have like one of like the best defense systems, and it's kind of crazy to me that they were able, like an area that they were heavily monitoring, they were able to go in there, break into Israel, kidnap people. They were in there for like 6 hours. Go in there, penetrate their security. Kill people, kidnap people, bring them back to their territory, and not like
that's where like
think about someone at the Mexican border. They break into our country. They go to the nearest town. They start shooting people. They start burning people. Those people aren't going back to Mexico. They're not making it back. By the time the first shot is fired, cops, everyone's gonna just be present, and the country's going to be protected. But that didn't happen in Israel. 6 hours went by where it was just silent. And the week before, the whoever's in charge of like one of the leaders in Egypt warned Israel that
that's what I'm saying. There was some sort of warning, and then
they ignored the warning. Not only ignored it, but just like completely disregarded it.
Like it never happened.
So when you look at that, it's like, yeah, there's like you really never know. And honestly, I don't think anyone in this room knows what the full story behind that is. And that's why you see, I don't like talking about 9/11 either, because with 9/11, there's also fishy stuff that happens. Like when you see that the FBI cleared out their offices 2 weeks, their offices in the Twin Towers 2 weeks before 9/11 happened,
Right.
along with a bunch of other companies. Like, you were perfectly fine there. Why did you clear out, completely
You guys
evacuate?
ever seen the video of Building 7 going down?
No.
It's not even talked about because they put the image and they broadcast the Twin Towers, but Building 7 also went down as a part of that attack. You know, I've got a little bit of past in the construction industry. Even without that, it's pretty clear when there's a controlled demolition, and then when there's some sort of extraversal demolition or some sort of attack. And I don't know, when a building falls perfectly symmetrical and just the other things that were lining up with it. And
something funny. I think it was 6 or 7 seconds before it actually happened, a reporter halfway across the world was reporting on it.
Was already reporting on it. Yep, I've seen that.
So just let that sink in. A couple seconds before it actually happened, and this is on live television, a reporter was already announcing the attack. So
quite crazy.
All
right, we need to,
So back to reality.
Yeah,
Actually,
back to
those
reality.
are things. You could go on and on for days, on and on for days. But let me ask you, Ayden, what advice do you have for anyone that is interested in getting into, the roofing industry or just any service-related industry?
That's a great question. Part of me says,
and again,
don't.
you're giving advice to a young person. So someone, kind of, 20, we're all 20.
Yeah, I'm 19, but
All
yeah,
right.
close enough.
Youngest one in the room, man.
What would I do? What would I do?
Not going to college.
Not going to college.
Yep.
I'd probably work for a contractor and learn the hands of the business. So
Yep.
how to install that shingle, how to lay that base sheet or cap sheet or whatever it is, and really learn the field, and eventually try to build yourself up into administration. So the way my dad did it, he leased one unit out of a building, and he would rent storage units, right? And he'd fill them up with materials and stuff like that. Okay. And that's what he would use as his inventory. And he'd have, there's designated roles within a business, and you just have to learn how to delegate those people and how to use them for what their star is, what they're good at, You know what I'm saying?
What I've taken away from the service industry, to put it into more of, I think, a generalization, I think it's a really good description, especially for the roofing business or any business in the construction industry. You definitely need to know the trade. Any service related industry, you need to know the trade. But I think most importantly, you need to know how to manage people and how to manage relationships, client relationships, like we were saying before, employee relationships.
Yeah.
That's what the service industry tends down to.
Yeah,
It's
you're right.
relationships and convenience. Mm-hmm. Whatever you can do to make someone's life easier, someone's life more convenient.
That's sales, yeah.
You can't put a number on it. You can't. You see these people, these billionaires, they're solving problems, and they're solving problems and by making them more convenient, making the solution more convenient. There might already be a solution, but they might have made one that's more convenient, and that's just it.
I think a lot of this industry is gonna crash, within construction at least.
What do you mean
Well, big.
Give a little more context to it.
Big whales, I guess you could say. Whales
Are gonna come up and swoop it in. It's funny.
No. They're gonna fall. They're gonna fall.
The whales are gonna fall. You're saying?
Yes, they're gonna drown. How about that? They're a whale. They're gonna drown.
What do you think? It's because they're borrowing too much money? Because they're
because they're playing the game.
What do you think?
Playing the game. I don't want to get too deep into it.
No, we're not gonna.
No, but.
I know what you mean.
I'll tell you how.
Yeah.
I'll tell you how after a podcast.
Off
it's
the
fucked
record,
up.
off the record.
Honestly, it's fucked up. But it's true. I think a bunch of these whales are gonna eventually drown. And that's why I was
Is
saying.
this just in the roofing, or are you talking just general,
construction in general. General contracting, roofing, plumbing, all of it. Service
Do you
industry.
think that, so say these whales do crash, right? Like, where do you think that would put like smaller business owners like you? Like, what position do you think would that put you in? Would that put you in a
greater
better
position?
I think greater position to be more opportunity out there?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's
More
how
market.
I see it. Huh?
more bigger pieces of the market?
Yeah, more work. Yeah, that's how I see it. Just more work, and it's how they're doing it isn't right. It is not right, but nothing I can do
No, we've
about
seen
it.
big industries like this, crash or make a change before. It's happened.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Like, you can't deny it. It's history. History will repeat itself.
Oh, for sure.
If something in the past isn't corrected, it's going to repeat itself. That goes for history. That goes for personal. Like that applies to every aspect of life. Like we were saying in the beginning, if you've made some sort of mistakes in the past and you don't take the step to correct those mistakes, it's bound to repeat itself again. It's taken me 3-4 times before to truly learn something, and maybe I'm only 20 years old.
Might take
Maybe
you
I still
100.
haven't learned
and
it.
I
Like, it
mean,
could
no,
happen
you do,
another
you
5
do.
or 6
I'll
times.
be
we
honest.
all
I'm
do.
not afraid to say, like, I am probably one of the most hard-headed people you'll ever meet.
Yeah, no, but that's for sure.
I am. I mean, I think part of the reason I'm like that is because I feel like I do my due diligence a lot, and I do more
try.
than most people.
Yeah.
So I kind of assume that most people don't do as much research, or
Try.
whatever it is,
Yeah,
as
try,
I do.
try.
But there has to come a point where, I mean, especially, I think sometimes you just got to read the room. And when, you have different people in different areas of your life telling you the same thing, that should be a wake up call. You should take that as a sign, like, all right, there's something here has to change. As stubborn as I am, it's almost like you just got to take a leap of faith.
You gotta self-reflect. You have to self-reflect. And even if you're not doing something wrong in your life, it's healthy to self-reflect. It's like, through
You always grow.
meditation, journaling, like that's finding yourself. That's how you grow. And going back to, like, the happiness figure, I don't see this happiness. What I do see more than happiness, I do see joy. Because you can find joy within any situation. You can find
grateful.
You can find
thankfulness.
just be grateful and joyful and just living every moment to the fullest. Like, even at the lows, like, I mean, dude, we don't have to go into it, but there was clearly a low for you and I. And even then, like, I remember turning to you and I'm just like, dude, I'm grateful right now to be breathing. Like, there are people, like, across the world right now who, like, don't have food, don't have water. Like,
we've been in a pretty tough situation,
Right.
and sat across from each other and just looked at each other and just, could be worse.
could be worse.
Could be worse.
That's exactly. So, Hurricane Ian, we lost 2 homes and like 5 or 6 cars.
Yeah, no, you guys lost.
Oh no, we got wrecked.
Fleet.
Like,
Yeah,
absolutely
you guys-
wrecked.
I know.
And that was the saying.
Too.
I'm grateful to be alive, because you look up in Fort Myers.
Oh, it's humbling, man.
But let me tell you something.
It's really humbling seeing something like that.
The way I see it as well, as devastating as, I feel like some people are going to hate me for saying this, but as devastating as, like, natural disasters can be, it's like almost like part of nature and like part of like the natural selection process in a way. Like like a bunch of old buildings that weren't safe, those are all gone, and now it's now like Fort Myers Beach. It's time, like, that whole place is being built from the ground up.
Oh,
like,
it is.
and it's gonna be beautiful. By
I
the
think
time
it
it's
will
done.
be. I think
It'll
give it
be
another
amazing.
like 3 years, 4 years.
But
It's gonna be
that only
crazy.
happened because there was a natural disaster that took it down and created opportunity.
Yeah,
So
and now it's time for the rich to move in, because all these people aren't getting paid by the insurance companies.
Correct.
So they're forced to either sell or be stuck with a completely wrecked
Vacant.
structure. Yeah,
Not
or
even,
vacant.
like,
Yeah,
at
no,
this
well,
point-
it's a wrecked structure. I mean, every Hurricane Ian, post Hurricane Ian, I was all up and down the coast. I seen Fort Myers Beach. I seen those boats.
I went.
all
You
tangled.
went off the main road. where the
Dude,
bridge
it was crazy.
But you know what was?
It's still crazy.
It
You
still
should see it.
is. But
So that created opportunity for you as well.
Oh,
There was a
absolutely.
good
Yeah.
and the bad.
Yeah.
There's good and bad. But you know what was beautiful about it, and people probably hate me for saying this. There was a very beautiful part about the storm, which was the unification. Like, even, I'm driving through, for me, my hometown, this is where I was born, this is where I was raised, my mom was raised here, and just driving through, and some places you wouldn't be able to drive through. It's just, number one, it was extremely humbling, but number two,
Definitely.
I don't think our town our people in the town has ever been like so unified, and that was really a beautiful part of it, and that's something that I'm gonna carry on. I'll remember like in my heart forever. It was just like, and like even I was out there. I had my Yukon, my all-wheel drive Yukon, so I was out trying to pull out as many cars as I could, and helping people move gas jugs, and just giving back to the community. Which if you can do that, you can do anything.
And that's the other thing, being able to actually help people. That's another thing that I feel like a lot of people lose sight of, and I feel like especially in business, it's something else.
It's such a money drive now. It's such I see this, I want this car, I want this girl. It's
people don't realize that there's a correlation between the money you make and the amount of people that you have an impact on or you help. The more people that you help, the more people you have an impact on by nature, just literally, that's just the way things are, the way things have been, the money will come. That's why like when you see like you see artists that are just like, they don't care about the money. They're like screw the money, but they'll dedicate hours and hours and hours, and they're just paint and paint and paint and paint. And then you see the painting, and you see, and it's just to you it's something simple, but this is something someone spent years working on, and then sells at an auction for 12 million, and you're like, how did that just like randomly sell for like 12 million?
Yeah.
I always say it's never the art you buy, it's the story behind it.
Yeah.
It's the story behind the canvas. Every piece of art starts with a blank canvas. Just like I feel like everyone's life, it starts with a blank canvas. It is whatever you paint it. It is whatever you put it out there to be.
Yeah, that's right.
And you know what? You're gonna make mistakes, and I can't tell you, some of the most famous pieces of art have mistakes in them, and sometimes you don't even see them because the artists just keep moving forward and just paint on top of the mistakes.
And that's the beautiful part of it.
Correct them.
That's the beautiful part of it.
Failure is success turned inside out. It's the most beautiful thing ever. In my
you
opinion.
can't succeed without failure.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a perfect piece of art. Every piece of art's got some mistake in it. It's just what can you make that mistake into. I've seen artists, make a mistake, and they'll blossom the entire piece out of that mistake. Same way I've seen people make, in life make mistakes. I've seen, people come out of, I'm not gonna name any one specific. I've seen people come out of, years of prison, like ex-gang members, and just use that and just blossom into a whole better person. And be able to impact people
like
positively,
that.
change lives, inspire.
Absolutely.
People. In your industry, you definitely.
I know a lot of
like that.
I know a lot of people like that.
You know someone like that,
What about? Do you read any books? Do you any
just the Bible and Rich Dad Poor Dad and The Greatest Salesman.
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
So when did you read Rich Dad? That was actually.
I haven't finished it actually, but
that was the first book I ever read.
I like Rich Dad Poor Dad. It's a good book. I haven't finished it, but I think I'm not too far into it. I'm only in like the 60s.
To me, I was given that book by one of my old friends' father, who's very big into real estate. And as a young kid, again, I grew up, or I was born in Cuba, lived in Miami for a couple of years, and then when I moved from Miami to Naples was kind of like whoa, because I was in the city in Miami, 30-40 minutes away from the beach. Then I moved to Naples. Now I'm living 3 blocks from the beach. I'm like, I can walk to Sunset. I go to school, and like it's just completely different environment. It's like most like a smaller school. Everyone's like closer together, different types of activities. So definitely something that was like kind of like changed my whole perspective was, again, when I was born in Cuba and I came here, that kind of culture shock, just being in Naples and seeing all the money in Naples. I was walking into 8, 10, 15, $20 million like houses. And so in my head, I was like, I'm not used to this.
That showed you something.
In my head, I was
further.
like, what? I asked myself, I was like, my parents came from Cuba. My dad now has his own business. And it's a business that he works in every day.
What's your dad's business?
So he has a bread route. So he
a what?
A bread route.
Okay.
So he basically distributes bread to like Publixes.
Oh. Okay.
So like, have you heard of like Sara Lee? Have you heard of Arnold Bread? All right, so if you go to Publix, you go to the bread aisle, you'll see like Thomas bagels, like you'll see like Thomas
I
English
think I've
muffins.
had those.
Yeah. So
I know what you're talking
so yeah,
about.
so he distributes those, and so I mean, so he's got that.
Like he ships them, or
So he picks them up from the warehouse. He has a bread truck, picks them up from the warehouse in Fort Myers, and then does like 5 days a week, delivers it to the different stores.
Okay.
And so that business has actually grown.
He has
crazy.
a trucking business then, right?
Yeah, so he has a bread truck that delivers,
Okay.
picks up the bread. He doesn't make the bread. He's an independent contractor. He just picks up the bread and then delivers it.
He's a middleman.
Yeah, he's a middleman. But again, that business has grown so much because you, especially, I mean, you moved from out of state into Florida, even though, I mean, you lived here when you were younger, but there's been many people moving to Florida. So now think about what that's done for like the bread industry. Like everyone needs bread. So he gets paid on commission. So since Naples has grown so much over the years, it's a business
He's building it. Sure.
So it's grown. But anyways, back to my main point was, I was living in Miami and then I come to Naples and I'm 3 blocks from the beach. Like my friends' parents are all like, they all own all these companies and they're all making all this money. So from a young age, what I decided to do was I'm just going to straight up ask people what they do for a living. So I got in the habit of just, I would go, every time I would go to like a nice house or just, you know, I would ask them, I was like, hey, I would straight up talk to my friends' parents and I would just be like, what are you in the business of? And they would be like, you know, I'm a lawyer, I trade, I do
whatever
this.
it is.
And I just started from I'm talking about middle
just
school.
listen.
Middle school.
That's
like
all
sixth
I do.
grade me. 6th grade me was here like sitting in this $10 million house. And I'm like, how'd they get here? And so I just started from a young age. I just started taking down like notes of everything that people were doing. And again, that's something that I'm thankful for moving to Naples because I wouldn't have had that in Miami. I mean, then, so yeah, from there, I feel like that aspect definitely helped my perspective, just being able to see the other side, how like almost I was seeing it from the perspective of like someone who came from a different country to now seeing it like, oh, from a business perspective, you know, how people conduct business and such. So.
And when you learn, especially here in Naples, being, you know, the small town it is, and, you know, me being a local, my dad's had his companies here for, you know, 2 decades, and number one, it's a very small circle. Everyone knows everyone.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah.
That's so true.
That's why I was saying it all comes down to relationships and
Definitely.
building and maintaining those relationships, and you know, and your reputation as well.
Absolutely.
And I know that's huge with you guys in the roofing industry.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit. How do you guys sort of
Build that reputation.
build and maintain that reputation and
Sure.
keep it strong? Because obviously, you know, it's. I know it's clear that it happens. You know, you're gonna flush through employees in your industry. You know.
Well, I think how we do that.
There's gonna be a bad job. How do you sort of like, you know, maintain
customer.
that integrity?
The customer. It's the most important thing.
Supposed to be the person. Yep.
So their wish is our command, pretty much. That's how it works. And
As long as it's reasonable.
oh, of course, yeah. I mean, yeah. So yeah, sometimes they ask for crazy stuff. But anyways,
Yeah.
you know, the customer, number one, we always, after a job's completed, we always get a Google review. So we have a few.
There's some sort of follow-up.
We try, yeah,
There's some sort of follow-up.
Oh,
phase.
absolutely, most definitely. You know, constant contact with the customer, communication. Communication is key. Scheduling. So, like sharing the schedule. How are we going to commence this project on your residence?
So bring me through that a little bit. Like, bring me through your. I'm curious, like your process. Like,
Yeah, what's like an onboarding?
From when you get that lead, you know.
Sure.
What do you do?
So let's say I referred, you know, you've done the roof on a couple of my properties before, and you know, I know Kayla needs a roof done.
Sure.
So I gave him your business card. What are you doing?
Well, let's say he calls the office, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
He calls the office. He says, "Hey, I need a shingle roofing estimate, whatever it is." So then my secretary will type you up, put you in our system.
My secretary. I had 19.
Yeah, no, I'm serious.
No, I love it.
She'll type you up in our system, or we'll have another person do it. But anyways, customer service in general. But you know, answer the phone, ask a few questions regarding your roof, about your roof, what do you want, what's there, other things, and then you will be handed off to one of our sales associates, in which they will go out, inspect the roof, see what's deficient.
So they're the first one to make, say, like I do call, it comes from like a call, right?
Yeah.
They're the first ones to make physical contact then.
Sure,
Okay.
yes. So they'll go out to the residence, inspect, or commercial.
And how long is this from the time that he calls and, let's say he calls and he's like, can I have someone here today? Kind of like if you get someone in and they need...
What's your typical response time?
Yeah.
It just depends. Depends on weather. Depends on a lot of things.
Especially
but
here in Florida, yeah.
Response time, it also depends on the situation. But let's say he went out, inspected the property, got the estimate to you to the next day, right?
Okay.
You want to go through with the estimate. You approve us. We follow through with the permit. We follow through with NOC, Notice of Commencement, which is a county recorded document that is needed to follow through with the permit. Upload things like the color index sheet or the NOAs or things like that. And then we produce a permit package, which is the whole permit in one little Ziploc, and we'll hang it up on your residence like a
Right, yeah.
like a flagpole or whatever it is. And then, hold on. And then after that, the guys will start work. Straight up. And then I'll throw, depends on how big the roof is. But let's say like a building like this, I probably put like 5 to 8 guys and they'll get it done in a day or two.
So I'm curious. So obviously, there's a pretty good bit of systems that go into your niche. So I'm curious how, I know you mentioned you guys use a CRM earlier. What sort of systems and what sort of, more specifically in today's world, what sort of artificial intelligence are you guys able to use to,
Absolutely.
Have you implemented AI in any way?
To say it again?
So what ways have you, implemented AI?
Sure. One way is getting roof reports, seeing how big your roof is, what's wrong with your roof.
How are you able to do that through AI? Or are you saying maybe like
online? They produce satellite images of your roof and can measure it from.
No shit.
Yeah, and there's also other technology like now EagleView makes drones that flies themselves.
EagleView's a company?
EagleView's a company.
Okay.
That flies a drone itself. You click a button on an app, it will fly the drone itself throughout the whole roof. I swear, it's the craziest thing ever.
Yeah,
how much does one of those drones cost?
AI.
For free.
No, but like...
The drone, I don't know how much the drone
if
costs.
you wanted one for your company.
If I wanted one, it would cost me nothing because I've already spoke to him. We're getting it. We have it. Like, it's free. No, they give you the drone. It's crazy, dude. And it will scan the whole roof and tell you where all the damage is.
I'm assuming you guys are going to have, like, some sort of sponsorship or something.
No, you have to have your drone's license. And
you have to have a drone's license, yeah. I actually learned the other day in Florida you cannot fly a drone above 400 feet.
Oh yeah, and they'll pop you.
Oh yeah,
dude, you'll get in serious trouble.
The FAA regulates that shit.
It's serious. They'll come after you.
What can they do? Like, how do they know it's your drone?
I'll tell you what they can do. I'll tell you
that I'm not too sure.
I'm not gonna go too far into it. There was a fishing trip we did down in the Keys, and back about
I know where you're going.
5-6 years ago, the government reinforced this zone called the EZZ zone, the Economic Relief Zone. And what it is, it's just this line that goes pretty much about 40 miles off of the Florida Keys, like right off Isla Mirada, if you want to put it more into perspective. Mm-hmm. Which it's always been there. It's always been a relief zone. It was just never really enforced by either the Bahamian government or the U.S. government until this one just asshole had to bring back 500 yellow-eye snapper from Bahamian waters, and he owned a restaurant locally in the Florida Keys. Ended up bringing them back, and it definitely tipped off a radar once he got caught to the Bahamian government, and they started enforcing it very strictly again. But we just found out 2 years ago, and unfortunately got caught by a drone, that the U.S. Coast Guard is now using drones to patrol that border. Like, they're using drones.
Oh, dude, it's so serious. It's crazy.
I remember we were fishing a little bit inside of it. I'm not going to mention with who or where or even when, but we were fishing inside of it. There's some damn good fishing in there, and if you know what you're doing, you're in and out of it pretty quick. You can make your time's worth. And we thought we were slick. We thought we were in the clear until we had turned down the music. The sun was just going down. I mean, we're popping freaking snowy grouper, yellow eye snapper like left and right on the rods. And I just remember like hearing like this humming above my head. And the captain of the boat just points. He goes, "Holy shit!" Just dude. I mean, this a drone like 2-3 times the size of the
shitting bricks.
What? Oh my gosh, just shitting bricks. I'm just looking right up at this drone.
2-3 bigger than that?
Yeah. I would say it's probably like an 8 foot by 8 foot drone.
That was a UFO, man.
Could be.
We're not talking about the.
Could have been.
What?
I don't know. Well, that UFO dropped a ticket in our mailbox. So I mean, dude, they did what they had to do. They came. They got a picture of all of our faces. They got the registration. They were out. They didn't even like. I mean, we thought we were being chased. I mean, we were out there all day. So we were out there all day in the sun. We were definitely a little bit beat up and tired from a day of fishing. And the captain had a little bit of a freak out. Ended up cutting 2 LP spools and booking it in. And but man, that's when my eyes were really open to all like this shit. Now it's like we just got ticketed by a fucking drone.
That's crazy.
Like. Man from someone like
in an office. Someone I was about to say that. So imagine someone's behind there just fucking around and just cost your life like however much that ticket was. But
How
it was Leonardo DiCaprio style. So, thanks for coming on, Ayden.
Absolutely,
definitely appreciate
it. Thank you
it
for having me and inviting me.
No,
it was great.
Of course,
just fun to talk. Learn about each other.
No, I was telling them earlier too. It's healthy. It's like it's therapeutical. Whether if you're talking about business or talking about personal, it's therapeutical and it's
interaction.
There's not enough of it in today's world. Yeah, it's
not at all. Not at all. There's a lot
without a phone. Yeah,
exactly. Putting the phones down for 2 hours just
for real
talking. What's
that's a struggle. It's a struggle to get a real conversation with someone nowadays, which is crazy.
Because people aren't present. No one's people are like elsewhere. Like, and that's something even I struggle with. You just gotta present.
Yeah, I'm